Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
What's up guys, I'm Andy from 1A Auto, and today I'm going to be installing this new valve cover and valve cover gasket on this 2007 Mini Cooper S. If you need these parts or other parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1aauto.com. To remove the coil pack connector, I'm going to slide this little piece up here. It's a little lock. Slip it up. Sometimes it'll push the connector out. Generally it gets stuck in there, so if you squeeze this tab a little bit and push it up, it'll slide it out sometimes. You can pull that off. If it doesn't, you can also use a little screwdriver, a little straight screwdriver, and just go back and forth. Eventually pull out the connector. When the connector's out, you can just grab the coil, wiggle it back and forth, pull it out. You're going to do the same for the other three. I'm going to remove this O2 sensor wire. Just slide this up, out of the way. I'll take a straight blade screwdriver and get underneath here, under here. Just pull that bracket off, the cover. We want to remove some of this wiring. Just pull it up. Just slide it out of the way. There's an 8mm nut right here that we want to take off. This is a ground that's attached to this wiring harness. I'll use an 8mm socket, extension, and a ratchet. Loosen this up. Take the nut off. Pull this ground wire off. Slide it up off the stud. It might be a little tricky. Take a straight blade screwdriver. Just help work it all the way up. Pull that off. And then over here there's a clip that's holding the wiring harness on. Just get it underneath the clip. Sometimes these are a little tricky to get off. There we go. Pull that off. Set that aside. There's two clips right here that go to this air sensor. And we're going to take these clips off. Take your straight blade screwdriver. Slide that one off. Same with this one. Pull that off. Set that aside. Next I'm going to take this little trim piece off. It's actually a lock that holds this hose on. So I'm going to use a trim tool and a screwdriver. There's a little tab underneath here. Push down on the tab to release it. Next we're going to slide this hose off. Just twist it back and forth. Set it aside. There's a breather hose that comes to the top of the valve cover right here. What you have to do is pinch the locks with both fingers and wiggle the hose back. Just pinch those, and that unlocks the hose. Set that aside. We're going to remove this cam sensor right here. I'll use an 8mm socket, extension, and a ratchet. I'm not going to unplug it. I will just take it out and set it aside. Pull that 8mm bolt out and wiggle the sensor out and set it aside. Next I'm going to pull these 10mm bolts out. They're all around the cover. I'm going to use a 10mm socket, extension, and a ratchet. This one actually has a stud, so keep in mind that the one in the middle in the front is the one with the stud. Oh, this one right here is a little bit longer, so keep that in mind. This one also, so the two back ones are longer. And there's two more in the center of the valve cover. Pull those out. It's hard to grab this one, so I'll use a magnet to pull it up. So once I got all the 13 bolts out, the valve cover is ready to pull up. But I noticed right here, there was one more retainer holding on a wiring harness. So I'll just take my screwdriver, pull that off, move that out of the way, and you can just grab the valve cover and pull it up. Here's our old valve cover and gasket. Here's our new valve cover and gasket from 1aauto.com. As you can see, the shapes are the same. The new one comes with the gasket. And I'll flip it over. Also comes with an oil cap as well. Comes with this little plug to pull that out. And it comes with either you stick a tube in there or it comes with a plug to plug it off. Get yours at 1aauto.com and you'll be ready to rock and roll. So we're going to install our gasket on our new valve cover. If you were reusing the valve cover and you were just replacing the gasket, you would want to clean this up real good with some brake parts cleaner. Make sure it's nice and dry. So we'll take this gasket. This is going to slide where the spark plug tubes would go. Just lock that in place. There's another one right here. We'll do the same. Slide that in place. And next we'll take this outer gasket. We're going to have to line this up, figure out where it goes. And that's not right, so it looks like this part goes over here. It's easier to find like the corners. Try to line the corners up with where they go. Slide it into position. Should lock in a little bit. There's some little tabs on it that should hold it into place in the groove. And it's all set. So we're ready to put this on. Before we put this valve cover on, we're going to pull this little red plug, pull that out. It comes with a new black one. Just slide this into position and lock it in. Now the valve cover is ready to install in the vehicle. Before we install the valve cover, we want to clean with a little bit of brake parts cleaner. I'm going to go all along the surface where the valve cover gasket will sit. So we'll just use a rag and some brake parts cleaner. Go all the way around. Be sure to wipe around where the spark plug sleeves are. Slide that, get all that dirt up. And it's nice and clean. Next, on the corner of this valve cover, I'm just going to put a little bit of RTV. This will just make it seal a little bit better. And it looks good right there, just on those two back corners. Now we're going to slide the valve cover back on. Just move that hose out of position. Make sure the gasket doesn't fold anywhere. Make sure it's all in correctly. That looks pretty good. Now we're going to start installing the bolts. I'll take the two long ones because I know those go in the back here. Just tighten these down by hand. Alright, then this one with the stud goes right there in the front, and all the other ones are the same. Get those all started. I'll just take my 10mm socket and my extension and just tighten these all down by hand first, and then we'll torque them. Now I'm going to torque these in a specific pattern to 90 inch-pounds with a 10 millimeter socket, an extension, and a ratchet. So the first one is this one in the back. And then number 2 is right here in the front. Number 3 is right here to the right in the center. Number 4 is right here. Number 5 is right here in the front. Number 6 is in the back, right here. Number 7 is on the front corner to the left. Number 8 is right here. Number 9 is in the back. Number 10 is over here. Number 11 is right here. Number 12 right here on the front. And number 13 in the back. And that's it. Install this hose in the back here. Line this up. Lock it in place. I'm going to install this cam sensor. Before I do that, I want to just wipe it down. There's a little bit of sludge on it. Put that down. And slide that into position. Wiggle it back and forth. Take my 8 millimeter bolt. Oops. I'll take my 8 millimeter socket, extension and ratchet, and just snug this up. Not too tight, it is plastic. Next, this little retainer that holds the wiring harness on. I'll just push that on right there. Then I'll line this wiring harness up here. Take this little bracket and push that down there. And then slide these coil wires into position. Take this ground wire, slide that over that stud. Take this 8 millimeter nut. Take our ratchet and socket, just snug that up. Not too tight. Install this hose right here. I'm just going to slide it into position. Install this clip that goes over here. It holds the hose in. Lock it into place. Next we'll install this cover. There's 2 little tabs right here. They line up with the valve cover. Slide those 2 in. And then we'll lock it down in place. We take this O2 sensor wire, install that into those 2 clips. And we're going to install these 2 clips. Just slide these in. Let's just hold the wiring in position. Just like that. All right, to install the coil, we'll just line it up with the hole, slide it down. Make sure this lines up with these 2 little tabs. Push it down. Once that's in, then we can connect the connector. Just gonna line up, it's like a triangle design. Line that up. And then you're gonna push the ratchet part, lock it in place. Do the same for the other 3. You wanna make sure they're all the way down. So once you connect them, then you can give it a little push, a little further down, make sure it's good. Those are all good.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at 1aauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.